welcome to my Stamina Warden PvP build for the no champion point and no proc campaign, Raven Watch. Some things have changed around about Warden, also armor sets has changed. I'm gonna show you what I choose from sets now. Quick look into the character screen. We are still Orc, I just prefer Orc on Warden. This sprint speed synergizes really well, and you get weapon and spell damage, you get some health, you get some stamina. I really like it. Also some small healing when you deal damage. So yeah, but other races would be Imperial or Nord or even Dunmer. I have 44 points in health and 20 in stamina. I wanted to push health a bit, so with minor toughness we sit at about 39k maximum health to boost our Polar Wind healing. Polar Wind scales still of maximum health, the other more of Arctic would scale of your offensive stats, but Polar also heals allies, and then I'm usually play in a group, and that's why I pick Polar here and boost my health a bit. Magicka is still close to 15k, completely fine, and stamina is at 21.5, and our back bar and front bar it's 20.6k. It's more than enough. You can of course drop some health for more stamina if you're having trouble sustaining that, but for me it's fine. You can get used to it. Mondos, we are using the Apprentice. Reason why I go Apprentice, and also you will see later I'm using spell damage on my jewelry, is because I usually play with a Templar in group, and the Templar gives you minor sorcery, which is 10% more spell damage, and since everything is hybrid now, it doesn't really matter if you're using more spell damage. It will have the same scaling, but when I use spell damage, I will benefit from the minor sorcery giving me 10% more spell damage. Other way around, if you usually have, for example, a DK in your group, you want to use full weapon damage and the Warrior Mondes, then you will benefit from the minor brutality, which will be 10% more weapon damage. So it doesn't really matter for the build, it's only to benefit from your groupmates more. Then we are still using Ozorga Smoked Beer Haunch, the best food for Stamina 1, since you need stamina and Magicka regen. And health. Ozorga is kinda expensive. There's a cheap alternative which is called Jewels of Misrule. It gives really slightly less stats, but it's way cheaper. And we are stage 3 Vampire for the Undeath passive, giving us 15%, up to 30% damage mitigation the lower health we go. Potions, at the moment I'm using Essence of Magicka. The Essence of Magicka also gives minor heroism in that constellation of ingredients you put. So you get Magicka, stamina and minor heroism to increase your ult generation, but they are quite expensive. If you're low on gold, just use normal tripods, completely fine as well. Backbar, we are using the Escapist Poison. When it procs, we get 4.4 seconds of CC immunity, and the target where it procs also gets immobilized. Really good when you kite in a tower, getting the free CC immunity saves you a shit ton of stamina. Really nice. Yeah, armor sets. I'm using a monster set, Mighty Chuden. That's one of the only 2 monster sets that actually work in no champion point, no proc campaign, because it isn't really relying on a proc, you just get major resolve at all times, which is the armor buff in that case. That's why with Mighty Chuden you can free up a skill slot and use something else, which will be more handy at the moment from what I tested. So 2 times Mighty Chuden in heavy reinforce with the prismatic enchant as the monster set. Then 5 pieces on body is Ancient Vanguard. We have 1 medium, 1 light, and 2 heavy, and no, 3 heavy. We have the reinforced chest, 2 sturdy pieces, the legs and the boots. Then we have a well-fitted sash and a well-fitted braces. So all prismatic enchant. I really like Ancient Vanguard. It will provide you 300 one-man spell damage while you're above 50%, so giving you a decent amount of damage. And when you drop low, below 50%, you get 3.5k armor, helping with survivability. And it's a small pariah while also having some damage, also giving one-time health, one-man spell damage. Great set. You can craft it every weight you need. I just fell in love with that set, and it's overall really great. Then our front bar proc sets with also 3 times on the jewelry is Brigand's Maul, giving us 2 times stamina. The stamina also is really, it's really nice because we still can maintain some decent amount of stamina while pushing some HP. And the 2 times stamina always up, right? Also when we are on our back bar, we still get the 2 times stamina, and when we are front bar, we get the 4 piece, which is weapon spell damage, and we get the 5 piece, which is 3.5k offensive penetration. We are using a sharpened maul, giving us a good amount of penetration of our front bar, which we can see here is 13k. And one of our skills, which is Deep Fissure, will apply minor breach, reducing the enemy's armor by 9k. So in general, we are looking at 22k penetration, and fully buffed, we get about 6.5k spell damage. So damage on that setup isn't big of a problem. Yeah, as I said, jewelry, full infuse with the spell damage enchant, and as you can see, we are not using a mythic. One of the only good Warden has 2 mythics in Ravenwatch, let's say, either Markin or Malakat. And I tested both. Malakat is still good on really heavy Warden, but I would lose the monster set, and I would need an additional skill slot for my armor buff, which at the moment I don't really like. I prefer having Juden and 2 5-piece. So Malakat and both Markin aren't really good for me at the moment from just what I tested. They don't give as much benefits to me as I would run Mighty Juden. Yeah, and on back part we are running 2 times Potentates, Sturdy Shield, and a Defending Sword. Reason we are now using Potentates over, for example, Adept Rider, which will just give the resistance, is because we don't have access to minor protection anymore. So the 3% you get from Potentates are actually the true 3%. With the major protection, not minor protection, the 3% just get less effective, because Dynamics is about the math in how Dynamics will calculate the damage mitigation. Yeah, that's about the armor sets. Going to our skills, from the main spammable is Dizzying Swing, also setting people off balance, just in general our spammable, and it will always be Dizzy Swing. Executioner, when people low, you want to use Executioner because it will deal more damage the moment your target is about 30% HP. Deep Fissure, that got changed, now hits 2 times, first time after 3 seconds and the second time after another 6 seconds. So in general, the real real burst potential, like the highest damage you can get on your burst, will be after 9 seconds, so you have to prepare a lot. I don't know why it has to be like this. Like, the skill was completely fine how it was, but ZeniMax changed it and now we have to work with it because they don't listen to feedback. Basically, you want to cast Deep Fissure and you want to make sure that already the 3 seconds fissure hits to apply major and minor breach. If it doesn't hit, you will lose damage on your second hit on your burst. So if it hits, you have to wait another 6 seconds and then you can burst with your Dawnbreaker to get the most amount of damage. It takes a lot of time to get used to it, and you can still fuck up a lot, but it is how it is, right? Then we have Bird of Prey, mega skill. It was before and it's now even better, since we now get 4.4 seconds of snare immunity, and you can just, if you use it, you can just sprint away. It's a really great skill to have. Also passively now, instead of increasing your damage by 2% per animal companion skill, we now get close to 1k penetration, and we have 2 animal companion skills here, we get additional 2k penetration. Then we have Leeching Vines, the heal over time we can put on ourselves, also apply minor lifesteal to everyone who attacks us, and when we attack them back we heal ourselves. The reason I'm not using Living Trellis is because it's just mega awkward to handle 2 burst heals, right? Living Trellis has a burst heal at the end, which you can also trigger by just recasting the ability, but managing 2 burst heals is just weird. And our damage ult is here, Dawnbreaker of Smiting. Back by we are using Barnage, the stamina restore one. From what I tested, I showed in a previous build earlier, the champion point build, that I was using the blue mouth, which is fine completely, but after some testing, the magic sustain you have on a Warden build when you use Shootin', so you don't have to cast your ice armor again, is really good. Like, Fissure usually only has to be casted every 9 seconds, also saving you a lot of magicka. You don't have to sustain ice armor anymore. We are also using now Lotus Blossom, which lasts 1 minute, and magicka sustain isn't that big of a problem. If you still have problems and you're completely fine with your stamina, you can swap it around to the Blue Nudge. That's up to you. Also, Bull Nudge and Blue Nudge both provide major, sorcery and brutality, so it's fine to either use one or another. Lotus Blossom, our source of major prophecy and savagery, increasing just our weapon and spell damage critical chance by, I think it's 10 or 12%, and every light attack will heal us, and also every heavy attack. Then we have the burst heal skill, which is polar wind scaling of our max HP, and they recently I don't know, they didn't mention that they buffed the burst heal in the patch, maybe they just fixed a bug, I don't know what they did, but also the burst heal got way stronger than it was before. So we now have a 30,500 tooltip just by standing here without minor toughness. And the burst heal also applies to an ally, plus you now, after casting it, you get a heal over time for 10 seconds. Every 2 seconds you heal for what it is in PvP will be like 1.5k health, and also the healing over time applies to an ally, so you have some cross healing that you can finally provide as a Warden. Then we have Resolving Vigor, also got a change, it's now lasting 5 seconds instead of 4, also providing you with minor resolve, which is 3k armor, really nice. And the new skill we have on our bar instead of Ice Armor is now Crystallized Slab. Well, from what I experienced in this patch, especially in No Champion Point campaign, many people are playing now range. Like, I got bombarded by range. Many Templars who are unhappy with the jab changes now playing ranged, and you just get so many projectiles that Crystallized Slab or the other morph of which is Shimmering Shield, they're both really good defensive wise. So you absorb up to 3 projectiles. Crystallized Slab will launch a projectile back to the attacker, dealing some force damage, also stunning them. So if you have many people on you, you can stun them from range. The other morph, Shimmering Shield, will just provide you major heroism, boosting your ult generation like mad, like really mad. So both morphs are viable, choose the one you actually prefer for yourself. And defensive ult in noCP, I just prefer Spell Wall over trees, but you can also use Healing Thicket if you want. It's cheaper, but Spell Wall will provide the most defensive in that case. So yeah, that's about it. Just I think my food ran out. Yeah, just gonna show you quickly the stats we have on that build. The maximum health is 39k400, and the resistance we have on our backbar are spell resist 33.4 and physical resist 32.7, which increase when we get below 50% thanks to Ancient Dragonguard. Backbar we already have a decent amount of spell damage, which was close to 5,300, and front bar it's 5,636 or 5,663, sorry, which is without the Berserker enchant on our 2H and without continuous. So with those boosts you sit at 6.5, and having now a Templar in group which will provide minor sorcery, you will have 7k spell damage. Regeneration 1024 for both stamina and magical recovery. When we take a potion, we sit at close to 1.3, which is fine for me. If you need more, you can always swap some enchants on your jewelry. There's an enchant which is called Prismatic Regeneration, giving you both magical and stamina regeneration. Or if you're struggling with stamina, you put one stamina glove or whatever you prefer. That's kind of about the build. I showed skills, gears. Yeah, enjoy.